Well, hello everybody. Welcome back to the channel right here on Port Royal Pop and another edition of our movie show. So, first of all, just got to apologize. It's been a couple of weeks since the last episode. I just had to be reshuffling some things across Port Royal Network. And you may notice that we've got a new name for the movie show right here. No longer called Screen Time on Pop. We're going to be calling it Big Screen, Small Screen, just as a just to capture everything that we talk about here on this show. Things on the big screen, things on small screens, and like things at home on the cinemas, stuff like that. So just change the name of it just to better reflect the type of content that we cover. So that's why we've sort of been off air and there's been a few other things happening, but we are back here for the movie show. And just before we continue, the Mandalorian party, the Mandalorian after party, I might do that episode over the weekend and get that back on track. All right, so let's get into tonight's episode, and we are going to be talking all things Super Mario Brothers movie. We are under a week away from this thing hitting cinemas next Wednesday here in Australia. And I thought, being a huge video game property, I thought I might invite a guest onto the show. So usually I do the show solo, but I've invited a guest to come on tonight and talk about everything about the Super Mario Brothers movie. He is the host of Retro Replay over on Port Royal Gaming. You know him as Zion. Zion, welcome to the screen. Let's call it the old name. Welcome to Big Screen, Small Screen here on Port Royal Pop.
Yes.
We are going to be covering a lot, or not a lot, but just talking over a few things about the movie that has caught my eye, at least, in terms of a few articles. So here's how the show's going to work, guys. I've got a couple of articles loaded up, which I think we might start with those first. And then after that, we are going to be just previewing and talking about what we think is going to happen, what things, our expectations going into the movie, maybe some things that we've noticed throughout. So, yeah, this is the preview show. Think of it as the preview show for the Super Mario Brothers movie. All right. Now, what I might do, let's just go. I'm going to do a bit of behind-the-scenes stuff here. I'll throw over to you first, Zion, before we go any further. We've got some merchandise here in the studio. I thought you might want to just show a couple of those off while I just set something up here.
Of course, you already showed off this this quite detailed Mario figure here that I can't remember which store did you get this from. This was a Target purchase, and I think one of the selling points they list on the box is the realistic eyes, which, if I'm being honest, they're a little uncanny. They're a little strange looking, but it's just looks like Mario. It's Mario from the movie. There's a cool little shot of him there. And yeah, decently sized. This is pretty cool. But the other thing that we have here, now, this came with, I think, McDonald's orders. They recently had the whole run of toys. I think the timing of the McDonald's toys and meals that came out, the reason they came out so early compared to the actual movie was, I think, due to the originally planned release of the film. So I think they came out earlier than they should have. But here's the Mario Bros. Plumbing van.
We've seen a few of those we've seen in the trailer.
Yeah,
a few of the trailers, preview trailers.
I love the throwback artwork that's on the side for the Mario Brothers there.
When I first seen that, I was like, yep, that's a cool little nod to the video game franchise. And before we do continue, I wish we had a physical copy of it. No, I think you've got a physical copy, but we got to talk about the original Super Mario Brothers movie.
Yes, I got the Blu-ray set. When did it come? It was like a year ago, or maybe a bit more than that. They made a whole deal out of it's being re-released on Blu-ray.
Yeah, and they played it they played it on Foxtel. They gave it a rundown. I think it's still available on Foxtel and on Binge.
Binge, yeah, that's where we watched it for the first time, because we hadn't seen the movie yet. I've known about it. I'm sure we both knew about it. It's one of the most infamous like video game films of all time. Trainwreck.
Yeah, I was going to say probably one of the most infamous video game failures, film failures of all time.
Yeah, that there's just so many things about that movie that sort of deviate a bit too far from the Mario IP and brand, that it feels a bit like they had no clue what they were doing, and the whole movie just felt like an acid trip. That's all I can sort of say about it.
And really, it turned Nintendo off of film production for, well, that was 93, 30 years. With 2023, well, and it's no surprise really that they're not using any of that in the marketing, like for 20 years. It's with anyway. They're best to just steer clear and there's no other way I can describe it but Chris Benoit, that thing, if I can use that analogy. Okay, let's move on to our topics that we're going to be covering here. I've got a few articles that I've brought up. So I'll bring up on the screen. So the first thing is Chris Pratt. He's actually come out and defends the voice in the Mario movie. So this comes to us from Nintendo Life. He says that he understands Mario has a passionate fan base. So where is the article? So this is what it reads from Nintendo Life. It says that ever since it was revealed that the video game voice of Mario would be swapped for Marvel superstar Chris Pratt in the upcoming Mario movie, there have been ongoing concerns about the voice and casting. We've already heard some Mario one-liners in recent trailers. Pratt has directly now acknowledged worries about the voice and the voices in general. So he did an interview with Extra TV, and this is what Chris Pratt had to say. Go watch the movie, and then we can talk. I think you probably need to watch it twice. I think that in all honesty, though, is that this is a passionate fan base and it makes sense. I understand I'm part of it. This is the soundtrack to your youth. You don't want someone to come along and cynically kind of destroy it as a cash grab with a movie. I fully understand that you do not want that to happen. There are so many hearts and souls and minds dedicated to making sure that didn't happen. Zon, what do you make of those comments?
I mean, he was spitting a little bit there. He
Yeah.
that's fair what he said. It's pretty true, pretty on the money, I think. A lot of confidence in that statement though about just watch the movie. And that's all you can do. Like the previews we've heard don't tell the whole story. We're not going to know the whole story till we're in the cinema watching the film. So all the voices I've heard in the trailer so far I've taken with a grain of salt. I know there are plenty of people and there's plenty of discourse on Twitter and stuff where everyone's like, "Oh, this is terrible. What do they do the Mario voice? Why couldn't they have just used Charles Martinet for the whole film?" But I'm someone who's ready to give it a chance.
I think when it comes to live, well, I'm not live, but like big screen adaptations of video games, you've got the video game property, which draws inspiration of, but once you translate it to a film, I think there are certain elements that don't work for a feature-length film. As much as I love Charles Martinet and his voice for Mario, that's what I associate with the video games. And if I'm being very honest, I don't think I would be able to tolerate a full hour and a half or however long movie this may be of just that voice, as much as I enjoy the voice. So
yeah, we've never had a fully dialogued Mario game.
it's and I think and Chris Pratt is right. I mean, he's just saying just watch the movie, then we'll talk. So I guess he's just saying to all the people who have judged it before it's released or before they've seen it, who have already made their minds up, he's just saying, slow down, just watch the movie, and then we'll talk.
And I mean, Bob Hoskins just sounded like some guy from Brooklyn. Let's not forget that. Not that that's the movie to be using reference for, but
Yeah, I think that's it. So we'll just go on with the article. It goes on to say that Pratt reiterated how the movie really honors the video game and the world of Mario, and believe it's a very promising start with the possibility of an entire universe over the next decade. So we're talking big picture things here.
The MCU, the Mario Cinematic Universe.
And the Nintendo Life article, it just finishes off. It follows comments made by Seth Rogen recently about how Donkey Kong would sound. Rogen was upfront about it, admitting that he doesn't do voices. It's just his regular one for DK. So what do you make of those comments by Seth Rogen?
I want to hear the laugh, but at the same time, his voice is probably the one I'm most curious about. We got a fair bit of Toad in these trailers, so I think my curiosity has been fulfilled in that case. But the DK voice, I need to. That's what I'm looking forward to, because I think we've heard a little bit of it in the trailers. I've tried not to kind of rewatch them in a way to keep it as fresh as possible.
I haven't watched. Yeah, they haven't been like.
I didn't watch the final.
I may have
trailer.
watched when the first trailers. I watched it a few times, but then after that, I was like slowing down a bit.
Yeah, so it's just going to be Seth Rogen. So
Yeah,
I think there's opportunity for some comedy there.
yeah.
Just based on the fact it's Seth Rogen.
And look, I like Seth Rogen. I like his work, but I think he should stop doing interviews. He just sounds like a dick in real life, and that's going after the comments that he made. I think we covered it on the show a few weeks ago. The comments he made about Marvel movies, how he was just sort of talking down on the MCU and like superhero films in general. So I think Seth should just slow down on the interviews because he's not painting a good picture for him. But I do like his movies. Okay, moving on. So that was that from Nintendo Life. So the next article that I want to cover is a bit of future planning, I guess. Not in terms of the movie itself, but the Super Mario movie Blu-ray release date seemingly has been leaked. So this comes to us from comicbook.com, and it says that based on a report from Nintendo Wire, the Blu-ray Steelbook version of the Super Mario Brothers movie is set to launch on June 6, 2023, which is about 2 months after the film hits theaters.
That's quick.
It means the physical arrival will be quite a quick turnaround. As for the Steelbook itself, it's set to be called the Power Up Collector's Edition. It comes with an iconic Mario mushroom emblazoned upon both sides of the case. On the inside of the Steelbook is then a look at the Mushroom Kingdom that is seen within. So I'm guessing that's just the promotional work, artwork that we've been seeing for the Super Mario Brothers movie. Now, it also is worth noting that this is a leak, so nothing has been confirmed, but it's got some pretty reasonable evidence around that this may be the case. And if so, what do you think about that? And when will you be pre-ordering your Steelbook or your collector's edition?
We will be pre-ordering the moment it is available, but I may have seen a photo floating around on Twitter, maybe of it was either the actual thing itself or it was some sort of mock-up, and I didn't really pay attention to it when I scrolled by it, but if this is what it's talking about, then yeah, that sounds cool. Steelbook for sure. I don't collect too many physical movies nowadays. It's only the ones that I sort of really, really enjoy. Especially some of the video game movies we've got in the last few years, the Sonic films, Detective Pikachu. And yes, the original Mario movie I have on Blu-ray, but from what I'm hearing, that sounds really cool. That's going to be a purchase for sure. Whether the movie's good or not, it's just a monumental kind of milestone in like the Mario series that we're getting another movie. It's going to be animated. So yeah, that's one to look out for.
All right, so I've done a bit of research as we're talking here, and I may have found an image. There it is. That's the promotional image that's been going around, the Power Up Edition, which looks really cool.
That may be the one I saw.
The thing that may have confirmed that this is real is if you go into the Reddit article, it's actually been removed due to a copyright claim by a third party. So
Oh,
that when things like that happen, that usually suggests that leaks are not meant to be out there. They don't want
So-
leaks out there. They put a copyright in and get it down as
There's
quickly
more
as
to it.
possible. We're seeing a lot of that around when Spider-Man No Way Home came out with the 3 Spider-Man
oh yeah.
images and all it's Sony and Marvel trying to pull them images off the internet. This is this is not a big a big thing that they want to try and hide, I guess, but I guess it just ruins their ability to surprise everybody with what they're planning to do,
Yeah, because
which is fair. I mean, yeah.
it's not a spoiler. This is coming out on physical media.
Yeah, that's right, and it just the addition of it, I guess, is what they're worried about. But yeah, I think I will definitely be picking up a physical media copy of this. I'll be going for the 4K Blu-ray and experiencing that in all its 4K glory in the living room. Just a side note, I'm thinking of starting a new show here on Port Royal Pop. So over on our Port Royal Gaming channel, usually when we get physical media copies of games and that, we do a little video and throw it up on our channel under our mailbag banner or whatever it may be. So I'm thinking of doing that for any like movies that I come across here on Port Royal Pop. So keep an eye out for that. All right. Let's go on to the next article. So that was that one. There wasn't much else in that. So like I said, it's just only a rumor at the moment, but there's strong evidence around it being the truth. So June 6th, keep that in mind. Okay, the next one is a very speculative article. It comes to us from Variety. And it's 11 Mario characters, power-ups, and more that we want to see in the Chris Pratt movie. So this is
Okay.
more of a speculative article. So we should be fine. Like there should be no
Predictions.
this is a predictions article. All right. So these are the 11 things that at least Jordan Moreau and Ethan Shanfield have written. So let's go through and we'll just give our thoughts on.
Shout outs to those guys.
Yeah, shout outs to those. And if you watch our show, we use Variety a lot. They're a trusted source. Let's go down. Okay, first one is Wario and Waluigi. What do you
Oh.
think about those two popping up in the movie?
I could see it happening, but in a very small capacity, because they're like the anti Mario and Luigi, and I think the plot for this film isn't going to be exactly complex or anything. It's going to be a pretty straightforward story, and I don't think you're going to have much room to have any other sort of major villain other than Bowser and the whole Koopa army sort of situation. So if they do show up, I think it's going to be like maybe an Easter egg or
Maybe just the hat, just in the background, or Mario picks the hat up and something like that.
we know there's going to be a Mario Kart scene. So
Maybe
Maybe.
races. Actually, yeah, that's some of the scenes I've also been trying to avoid because I don't want to see who's in the race. What else? The Fire Flower and more power ups. So I think we'll definitely see a Fire Flower power up in the movie.
Yep.
I think we've seen some promotional images of Toad in a fire flower field. And I'm pretty sure
yes,
they
the
popped up.
trailer.
Yeah, in
There
the
was
trailer.
The one with Peach holding the flower in her hands and
Yep.
giving a little speech.
So I think that's probably a given. Actually, it'd be interesting to read what they've written about. Let's see what they say there. This is what the article says. So every hero needs an evil doppelganger. Wario is about as iconic as you can get in the Mario world and pop culture in general. I would agree with that, actually. Would make a worthy co-antagonist with Bowser or keep and steal the spotlight in a sequel. So I would agree that maybe a sequel to have them more of a larger role.
Post-credit scene or something.
But I don't. To be honest, I wouldn't want them to be like co-antagonists in this first movie with Bowser.
No.
I think it should just be with the main antagonist of Bowser. And they put some actors attached: Danny DeVito and Steve Buscemi. some actors that they've
DeVito.
casted. And the Fire Flower are vital to Mario games, allowing the plum to grow. Yeah, we know that. Since the trailer shows Mario rich for a mushroom before Toad scares the life out of him. Yeah, so maybe he'll pick up. Okay, so it says more power up. So they're talking about the Super Leaf, the Tanuki, a star, Bee Mario, Cat Mario.
I was gonna say the Galaxy had some pretty crazy power ups. I'm wondering if they might incorporate that somehow, because there's like the bee suit. There's a rock mushroom that turns Mario into like a boulder. You got the cloud mushroom. I'm thinking stuff like maybe even like the hammer suit from Mario 3.
Oh, that'd be good. I'm just trying to think of some other suits that.
The frog suit.
The frog suit. What did they put there? Metal mushroom to become Metal Mario.
Which I think it's New Super Mario Brothers that has the penguin suit.
No, there's
We do know there's like a penguin like kingdom.
Yes.
So are we gonna see enough of it that something like that might show up?
All right. Next up, Bowser Jr.
Oh.
So Jack Black is voicing Mario Bros, which leads perfectly introduction of Bowser Jr. in a cameo role, potentially in a sequel. The mini villain has been a thorn in Mario's side in many games. Combination of him and his much bigger dad could be a formidable threat to the Mushroom Kingdom. Who is Bowser Jr.'s mother, plus the lesser known Koopalings? So you got Larry, Morton, Wendy, Iggy, Roy, Lemmy, and Ludwig. Could also play a role in a future larger Koopa family. Yeah, Bowser Jr., he has been the primary antagonist for a few of the Mario games. And he's a recurring character at this point, so I could see him maybe as a background character.
Yeah. I can't see him being like a. He definitely wouldn't be like a co-antagonist or anything like that. But maybe if they even kind of stripped back his sort of role, like maybe they kept him as sort of a more minor, secondary kind of villain, or not even really like a secondary, just kind of another member of like the Koopa army or something, like just sort of that level. Because I think I'm still I'm on board with. Keep it simple. Bowser, main villain. Keep it at that.
First movie and introduction back to these characters on a big screen. So keep it basic. And yeah, I wouldn't miss Bowser Jr. if he wasn't even in the film at all. So Yoshi. Wouldn't be a true Mario movie without Nintendo's favorite fruit-eating, egg-laying, flutter-jumping dinosaur. I may recall Yoshi's being in a trailer.
Trying to think of it too.
I'm trying to recall that end because all I remember is that I think there's maybe a herd of Yoshis.
That's what I was gonna say. I'm thinking of either that or that.
There's a I was thinking it was like a homage to the Smash Bros. Melee opening
Yeah, I
screen.
think there was a herd of Yoshis.
I do
in one of the
remember,
trailers.
yes, I do remember something about that. Like I said, I've sort of steered away from rewatching trailers just so I can go in fresh. So that's why my memory's a bit rusted. I mean, people might be saying, "Oh, yes, they're definitely in there. They're definitely in there," or could be saying that, "Oh, they're not nowhere, haven't even been seen yet." But yeah, Yoshi. I could see Yoshis as just like animals, like in the background, like
I don't think we're gonna get
not like Yoshi, you know.
a main sidekick Yoshi.
Yeah. At least not, definitely down the track, yes. But, yeah, I think we'll just have them walking and Peach says, oh, look, here's a herd of Yoshis or whatever.
Maybe there'll be some sort of what's the origin story of a friendship between Mario and like a single Yoshi. Maybe we'll see that develop out. But
yeah, I'm just thinking like maybe something happens with
an idea.
Mario and them as they're walking through whatever area they're in, and something happens to Mario and Yoshi, sort of like something really little, like he gets stuck or something, and Yoshi helps him, sort of thing. Something really small like that, I think, might happen. All right, the next one, I put 3 and 1 for this one. Daisy, Toadette, and Birdo. So, what are they
Ladies.
saying about the women of Mario Brothers? It says that we know the Super Mario Brothers will feature the obvious Mushroom Kingdom squad. Those ones there, alongside Donkey, Cranky, Kamek, and Spike. But it would only be fair to Luigi and Toad for the movie to include some heroines for them to save. Like Princess Daisy, Toadette. Perhaps we'll even see cameos from other supporting characters in the future, like Birdo, Rosalina, and King Boo. I think the way that the trailers are presenting this film is that Luigi's actually the one that needs saving.
Yeah, Luigi's the
he's,
damsel.
He's the damsel in distress for the movie, which I like, actually. I don't mind that at all.
It's a good mix-up.
Good mix-up. So I don't think having Princess Daisy and Toad in the movie just to be saved for someone for Luigi or Toad. And by the way, Toad's role seems to be very, very, very supportive of Mario. So
He's the like the what's the word I'm thinking of?
Mr. Exposition.
The exposition character, yes.
Mario, this is what this is for. Mario, this is what this is that for. So that's I don't think these guys look, I don't believe they've showed up in any trailers or anything. But I think we'll just focus on the Mushroom Kingdom squad, as they've called it, for this first movie at least. We look, maybe towards the end, when the happy ending, we might see Daisy and Toadette sort of somewhere in the scenes, but I don't see them having a major role throughout the film.
No, if I can throw out just a sneaky little prediction, or not a prediction, just an idea. I'm thinking, what if Sarasaland exists in this movie universe they're setting up? Sarasaland is the kingdom that Daisy rules, of course, in Super Mario Land, and that's where that game takes place. So I'm not saying they're going to go there, they're not going to see it. Maybe there's just like some sort of reference, like a name drop to Sarasaland and Daisy or something like that.
Well, we did get that scene in the trailer when Peach is explaining that all these different galaxies to Mario. So maybe as part of that scene, she may say, we've got this blah blah galaxy, and then she might mention that galaxy. And that in itself, I think, is a definite
That in itself is a whole nother
Easter egg towards Super Mario Galaxy, and then you'll automatically think of, where's Rosalina? But there, that's... unfortunately, I don't see any of those, and Birdo... Maybe is Birdo a species, or is it a single person? I would lean...
They partner Birdo with Yoshi a lot, but I don't think there's like... You don't see herds of Birdos.
Yeah, maybe it's just one character, like a Yoda type thing. Okay, moving on. Flood and Cappy.
I'm going to be honest. No shot.
I don't know. If you had to pick between the two, which one would you think? Both, I would agree, none of them. But if you had to pick one of the two, which one has the better chance of appearing, do you think?
Flood, because I think Cappy is too fleshed out, because they're both kind of sentient beings. So Cappy's obviously like a hat thing from Bonneton and Mario Odyssey. Flood's just like this kind of, I don't know if it's like robotic or something, but it was a thing that Professor Egad created, and I think it speaks to Mario in Sunshine. But it's like, it doesn't have a face or anything like that.
So you should find it.
Actually, I might have saw it back out in the...
I was just going to say, people don't know what Flood is. So Flood is the support...
It stands for...
mechanism.
It's an acronym for something, but I can't remember.
Yeah, for the video game Super Mario Sunshine, which was released on the GameCube Nintendo.
Showed up in Smash as his permanent down special.
Yeah, so it's a
After Brawl.
water gun, basically.
Yeah.
If you want to keep it simple terms. And Cappy is Mario's support character in the Super Mario Odyssey video game released on the Switch. So it's his hat. Well, it's not his hat, but it takes the form of his hat. It's a sentient sort of hat being that Mario goes in. So that's Flood and Cappy, if you're unsure.
I think if any iteration of these things were to show up, that's sequel territory.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think because those things they're a bit too specific to the games they come from. That I think if you were to include them, you'd have to borrow a few more things from those games in particular for it to make sense in the context.
And yeah, definitely, it'll be like the movie would be built around that as well. The only thing that I just could think of is if the back of that van, they just open the back and you just see like Flood just sitting there,
It's some sort of thing.
some
that
sort
they've
of
got.
background throwaway split second thing. That's the only thing I would see Flood appearing as, which would go against what it is originally as well. Like, but yeah, would put a small chance on that one. Okay, what's next? Donkey Kong throwing barrels. I think that's a given.
Did that? No, wait. I don't think it happened in the trailer because we have seen the trailer where Mario and DK are like,
They're ready to fight
Having a
in the
face-off.
gladiator
and I
arena.
know Mario does get slapped around,
Yes.
but I don't think there was a barrel thrown.
No.
But it wouldn't surprise me if
I think-
there is one in the cut there somewhere with that they just never didn't show it in the trailer.
Yeah. I think there is that scene where they're doing the training
Yeah.
and Peach has built that obstacle course, and I can't remember correctly, but I think Mario may have jumped barrels as part of that little training obstacle. Like we said, guys, we haven't watched these trailers over and over. We're just wanting to go in fresh, so that's why our memories are just failing us right now,
But that's a
Which is
excellent
good.
thing for us.
which is good because that means we can speculate and go into this thing fresh. So I think we're definitely going to see Donkey Kong throwing barrels at Mario. If not in that scene, then maybe somewhere else. An underwater level. So I guess the meaning like an underwater section of the movie, which would probably be an homage to the games.
I mean, if they do, seeing the way the movie has been incorporating some of the theme songs, I wouldn't be surprised if we get some sort of mellowy kind of version of the 8-bit Mario underwater theme song from Super Mario Brothers. Although, if we get something that's like a reference to Die Die Docs or something, that's gonna be crazy. But I don't think we will. That's if we do get something water related. I can't sort of see like an underwater level sort of happening because like if it references something, this is just kind of brainstorming an idea here. I don't think many Mario games have underwater levels that are sort of notoriously disliked or anything like other video games do. Because say, I'll just create an example with a made up scenario. Say we get a Zelda movie and Link is like faced with like a water dungeon and say he makes a little remark before going in about like, because the water temple from Ocarina of Time, like that sort of deal. I don't think Mario has that sort of thing, that stigma attached to water levels with their games.
Oh, to have that little wink wink moment sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know there is that scene where they are walking the bridge and the cheap fish jumping over, but whether maybe, look, we've only seen a little bit of that scene. Whether a cheap actually knocks Mario into the water and we just get this little shot and then he's pulled out straight away. But yeah, I don't think they'll spend too much time with an underwater levels per se.
Although, say that does happen. I like the idea of being knocked off the bridge with the cheap.
Yeah.
Actually, didn't it just like attach to his face or something?
Yeah, he got attached and he's like, get it off.
Just imagine if he got knocked off. He's got a cheap on his head.
Yeah.
He rips it off. It goes into first person view, and there's the eel from Mario 64.
Oh, that'll be jump scare moment. And I mean, like we said, these are trailers that we've seen, so they're not necessarily going to be the final product. So that that scene may play out differently. So
Yeah.
that's the good thing about it too. All right, next up is Mario Kart. Well, we definitely know that that's going to be in the movie.
Confirmed.
So there's going to be, from what I believe, is a pretty significant section of the game. The movie, sorry.
I feel like that honestly could be like the big climaxing like action sequence.
Oh, yep. Yeah, and because we see all the characters that are involved in it, so it's obviously would have built up towards it. So that's that one. Baby Mario flashback.
Um,
Hmm.
they could do it, but I don't want it.
No.
I've never really cared for the baby characters, the baby versions of them, especially with Mario Kart 8, where like literally everyone gets one.
Yeah, I don't see a flashback sequence happening. I think it's going to play out pretty linear, and from what we know, Luigi goes missing and he has to be saved by Mario. I don't see where any of that would come into it on the surface. So
Like the Sonic movies, the first Sonic movie got one where we got to see like a little Sonic, but that was the only reason we got that was the film's way of introducing the character. Um, I think the way the film's going to introduce the characters, it's going to bring us in at where they currently are with their Brooklyn plumbing jobs and all that. They're not going to need to go that far back in their lives.
no. Yeah, no. Next one, Super Smash Brothers. All right, let's see what they say about this. If Nintendo wanted to build out the Mario universe, it could treat Super Mario Brothers as its
Okay, here we
Iron
go.
Man
This is the point, the big
launching pad,
yes, that everyone's so clamoring for.
creating the MCU, Mario Cinematic Universe.
I bet the NCU,
Yeah,
I
I
think
was
is what we
thinking
call
that.
it.
Outside of Mario, they can't. Yeah. All right. So we know that is the plan at the moment, and for that, I would say that it all depends on the success of the movie.
I think this movie's going to be a success no matter what.
Yeah, I think it's. Look, they may have already greenlit a sequel. They may have already greenlit some other projects, but at the end of the day, with the biggest things that movie studios goes off the box office numbers as the number one. How much money does this make? When I think this is gonna make the most money throughout the whole year. To be honest, and we'll talk about that in just a moment.
Oh yeah, we'll get to that.
And the other thing they look at is the reviews as well. But it's more so if it makes you money, you get in a sequel. That's pretty much how studios work. Okay, and that is the end of the article. So some points there to take away. So that's the 11. Yeah, that was a good article. Got some good predictions from Jordan and Ethan from Variety. So, yeah, that was good. All right, the last article I want to bring up is this one right here. I don't know if I should put a... if you guys don't want to know anything about the movie at all, like absolutely nothing about how the movie plays out or anything about the movie
structure
or absolutely, stuff like that, the structure or anything like that, then I'm going to put something on the screen. And you guys, for as long as it's on the screen, you guys cannot look at the screen. Well, it's not going to work because I'm going to have the article up on the screen. You know what? You've been warned. Don't watch the video.
Don't watch the video from here on.
From here on, I'm going to make a little timestamp, spoiler zone. So this is the spoiler zone. 3, 2, 1. All right. Next article. So it has been hinted at that the Mario movie contains a post-credit scene that hints at a sequel, according to Chris Pratt. So this comes to us from Video Games Chronicle. The Mario actor has already made comments about an entire universe of movies. So that the where this comes from is that Chris Pratt and Charlie Day, so Mario and Luigi, did an interview with CBR, and they were point blank asked if they want to see a sequel. Pratt replied, "At the end of the film, there's a post-credit sequence." So
he just said it.
I guess hint is no longer hint, is just confirmed. There's a post-credit sequence that gives you a taste of what a sequel could be about, and that gets me very excited. That gets me very excited. He's also added there's talk of Luigi's Mansion. There was a GameCube game. I think it would be great.
Yes, that was one thing I definitely remember hearing about, the whole Luigi's Mansion movie type thing. That'd be different. That'd be interesting.
It would be interesting at all. So, what do you make about that? Those comments. So, like the the interview Pratt just point blank says at the end of the film there's a post credit sequence. So, I guess to be expected with big tentpole franchises these days.
Yep, it's become the norm.
It's become the norm. If you're building a universe, which they clearly want to do, a good way to get people excited for your sequel is to drop a mid credits, post credit scene within it. What could that be? We could speculate till the cows come home. But yeah, well, hearing that, do you have any thoughts of what you might want?
It definitely makes me a little excited because, like we said, they're everywhere nowadays in movies. To a lot of people, even before it sort of became the norm, it felt like it was getting a bit overused. But at the end of the day, like, it's still something that just gets you sort of excited. It's like it keeps you invested for the next the next time we get a sequel or something like that. But it just gives you the idea that there's another movie coming, so we're gonna have another thing to think about. But as for what it could be about, no clue, and I'm gonna leave it at that. I think I'll with the trailers. I'm not gonna rewatch. I'm just gonna let the movie present itself now, and same with the end credit scene.
Yeah, it could be anything. Trying to predict it is going to be hard because we haven't seen the movie. We've seen the trailers and we've got a general idea of what the movie is going to be about. And that's a very, very general idea. So, one way or another, whatever the end credit scene is going to be, I'm sure that by the time we get to it, it would be like, oh yeah, let's go on with the next one. Okay, guys, so that's the 4 articles right there that we've covered. Now, what I'm going to do very quickly first, I've noticed we're a bit jaggedy right now. So, guys, just bear with us 1 second. One second, we're just still here. We're not going anywhere.
I'll try to hold these still so it's not so jaggedy.
Some of the look at the merchandise. We didn't really, we talked a little bit about the merchandise, but there's heaps of other things I want to get my hand on. Moment. All right, guys. So we've looked at a few articles there, and we are now going to move on to this section where we are just going to give our final preview for the Mario Brothers movie. As we said, it opens under a week away, April the 5th, 2023. It releases here in Australia, which was moved forward a couple of days. I am hoping, though, possibility of it opening a day earlier. Not that we've already planned to go and watch it on the Wednesday, the opening day. No, usually sometimes you might get an early screening. I know in the States, you guys in the States watching, you guys are getting a midnight release. And I know that that's been a lot of people are looking forward to that over in the US. So, I mean, for a movie to get a midnight release, I mean, we're talking like Star Wars popularity. That's why I think this movie is going to be the biggest box office movie of the year. So I guess that's one thing that I'm going to predict for the Mario, and this is a prediction going towards the end of the year. This is a multi-generational movie. that, yes, has been done before, but not as, how do I say it, not as faithful as it should be. So we're getting people who have played the game and have played the original game in the 80s. Everybody knows who Mario is on the planet, whether they play games or not. They may have dabbed in the back in the 80s, 90s, or wherever. They know the character. Um, that's why I think the multi-generational fan base that this movie has is just going to send the box office through the roof. But is it going to be good? That's the big question. What's your what are some of the things that you going into Mario Brothers next Wednesday? What are you taking in?
Well, I think that financially, I think that this, I think it's pretty safe to say, well, it kind of hurts me to say, but at the same time, I feel like this is definitely going to be true. It's going to outgrow Sonic 2. I think we can both see it as a very high possibility. It's it's Mario is like, he's the most recognizable video game character out there. So the amount of reach that just the idea of this movie, and the fact that it's partnered up with Illumination Studios, who already is like one of the biggest animation studios out there. This movie is gonna make some serious bank. It's gonna have the eyes of the entire world on it. Like you said, multi-generational.
Multi-generational and multicultural.
It would seem that they're going with an appeal that'll, I think, appeal with everyone. We've seen the Mario Bros. Plumbing commercial that they did. That was just a straight up callback to the 90s cartoon.
And by the way, that dropped during Super Bowl. Millions, the most watched American program in terms of viewership, and they dropped that in the Super Bowl.
So it's like, if this movie flops, it'll be a damn, like, I don't even know, like,
I don't, yeah.
There's no chance this movie can physically not flop.
Doctor Strange can see all the multiple outcomes of this movie, and none of them is the scenario that it flops. Let's just touch on the box office a bit. So what I might do, I'll go back to the screen, and let's have a look at other video game movies box offices, and let's see what we think this movie is going to land. Now, remember, video game movies have historically not been like... You look at a Marvel movie, you're getting like a Marvel movie such as... what's a movie that came out recently that wasn't well received? Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness almost made $1 billion at the box office. And that wasn't a movie that wasn't good, so... All right, going back over. So these are the list of films based on video games. They're right at the top there. By the way, I'm just looking at some of these upcoming ones. I mean, this is just beside the point, but we've got Gran Turismo launching in August this year. We got Sonic the Hedgehog next year. And then some other titles that have no dates attached. So we've got Days Gone, Death Stranding. Duke Nukem, Dead by Daylight, Five Nights at Freddy's, Ghosts of Tsushima, Jack Dexter, an untitled Metal Gear film, untitled Just Dance film.
Are these real?
I think this is another episode that I need to do here on big screen, small screen, but that's all the upcoming... This is going to Wikipedia. Take Wikipedia for what it's worth, but
some of those have to be japes.
We'll just... for the purpose of just getting a general idea. So, there's a movie called Postal, which I'm not familiar with.
Oh, Postal, that'd be a controversial one. Postal was a pretty, how do I say, it was something when it came out. I know it's banned in certain countries or something like that, because it was, pretty, I don't even know how to describe it. I think was just violent, like a lot of violent.
So what was it based on? Postal by Running with Scissors.
Yeah, Running
Series
with
of
Scissors.
Shooter. Okay, so it is. Yeah. All right. So Postal. So that made dismal $146 thousand dollars, which is nothing, really. Um, it's something for them. Their budget was 15 million, so they made a heap of money on their own, but 9% on Rotten Tomatoes, so they got that. Okay, moving up to Dead Trigger. I'm not sure what Dead Trigger is. Film based on so it's based on a mobile game of the same name. Okay. First person survival horror. So probably some sort of indie. What country was this? Okay, it's US.
Never heard of it.
Doesn't say anything, but anyway, that's a lie. So that made a worldwide gross of 151. Then we get to the big jump. To Far Cry, which was, I believe, a direct to what do you call it? Direct to DVD release. Yeah, it was a box office bomb from negative reviews. It sort of flew under the radar.
I did not know this existed.
Made at it's definitely one of the biggest flops ever. Made to a budget of 30 million, only grossed 743,000. So
What year did this come out?
that lost about 29. 2008. Okay, it's a German film, so that's probably why we're not too familiar with it.
That's so odd.
A German film, so it didn't really make the rounds across the world. But it's got it seems to be a Far Cry like based on the game. Anyway, so let's go up. We got Tekken. So that's where we break the $1 million mark, is when we get to Tekken. So at 1.6 million. I think it'll clear that with great ease. Blood Rain. Oh, that's a movie that I have chosen to forgotten over the years. That made 3.6 million. Dead or Alive.
Oh god.
That 2006, based on the movie.
I haven't watched it, but
Yeah.
I probably have chosen not to do that.
Well, that made 7.5 million. Alone in the Dark. There's a film about that. One of those obscure games. Okay.
Not long after the
It's based on
2001
the 2001 game. It's an adaptation of the game.
Ah.
Although it's a 1% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes, so
Oh,
that has to be one of the lowest in Rotten Tomatoes history.
how could it be that bad? Alone in the Dark seems to have a nice enough premise.
Gave the rating. Let's see. Incept an almost entry level end. Don't work. It's a thriller. Good for some head slapping and laughter. Okay, so it's just.
Oh,
Yep. Okay, let's keep moving on. Okay, we get to Wing Commander, which is based on the game of the same name. Okay.
must be some
Freddie
arcade
Prinze
game.
Jr. is in the movie. 99 it was released, so that made 11 million. So the other thing to note also, as we're looking through this, you can see the column here that I'm looking with box office numbers, but then you look over the Rotten Tomato meter, and this has pretty much been the trend on video game adaptations over the years. You got 9%. Tekken was 0%. 4%, 12%, so Werewolves Within was pretty well received. But we keep going. Street Fighter, The Legend of Chun-Li.
Yikes.
Oh, I don't know about this.
I can remember like hearing about this, but I never watched it.
Taboo played Vega. Yeah. Well, that made 12 million. Well, let's keep going. There we go. So we'll get to the Super Mario Brothers movie, released May 28, 93. So yeah, that's like 30 years almost. If they released it on the same day, that would have been
I
something.
think, yeah, but I think they're avoiding doing that.
but that made 38 million at the box office.
Although remember that this was supposed to release December 22. So
It was pushed back.
in getting pushed back, it did create this cool fact.
Which is again something Nintendo would never put in their marketing. So yeah, I think it'll clear the original. Let's keep going up. Monster Hunter had a movie.
That was pretty
Oh,
recent.
that was that Mila Jovovich. I didn't get around to seeing that one. Mortal Kombat Annihilation.
Oh,
Yeah, 4%.
just hearing that name hurts me. I own this movie on DVD. It's actual garbage. Like the first Mortal Kombat movie, you hear a lot of praise for as like being one of the better video game movies. Fell off the freaking tracks so hard. Like, oh,
Yep. I haven't seen this, and I have absolutely no intention of watching anything to do with this. It made 20 million profit, so that's nothing. So we get up to Silent Hill Revelation. Yikes. Doom. Hitman. And then the trend continues. Then we get to the 2021 Mortal Kombat.
Oh.
Which was, it holds a 54%, so it's a 50-50. So remember that Rotten Tomatoes is a aggravator site, so that just means 54% of the reviews are in favor of it, and the other half are not in favor. So it's a mixed bag there.
I gotta be honest. I wasn't the greatest fan of that Mortal Kombat movie. It was fine, but it didn't do anything to wow me. And I'm a big Mortal Kombat fan. I love that series.
Yeah, I haven't checked that out yet.
Enough to have watched Mortal Kombat Annihilation.
Max Payne, I think. Yeah, Silent Hill. So that for a long time, this is my favorite video game adaptation on the big screen. With Sean Bean in it. I'm in the minority with that statement, but I like Silent Hill. We got the Street Fighter, the '94 film.
Oh man.
Yep.
Talk about that film is almost in the same boat as Mario. It's just because it's a more action oriented film, it's just better that way. But
Yeah, and like I said, you look at the reviews. Like these are the video game adaptations. Historically, they're not polarizing reviews. Generally, we get up to the Resident Evil films. The Angelina Jolie Lara Croft. Then we get to Need for Speed, which if you didn't know that was a movie, then it is a movie because
I didn't.
that was released. I think Disney put it out, not under Disney. It was under. Yeah, Disney distributed it. DreamWorks. Yeah, Reliance. That's a Disney brand. So Need for Speed came out. Where are we up to? So I'm pretty sure we're clearing all these. Then we get to some of the more recent ones. So we got Resident Evil Retribution. Well, that's not recent, but then we get to Assassin's Creed. I think this is the rebooted Tomb Raider with Alicia Vikander. But you see the box office number starts to pick up here. We get to Resident Evil Afterlife, which I believe was it the last one? No, the final chapter would obviously be the last one. Sonic the Hedgehog, the first film, so that raked in 319 million. And so far, that's the most well-received film on the list so far. We get to Prince of Persia. I remember they
Jake Gyllenhaal one.
pushed that one, so that made a bit of money at the box office. They put it under the Disney brand as well, so that probably helped boost that one up. And having Jake Gyllenhaal would probably help that as well. We get to Uncharted, which was last year's the Tom Holland and Marky Mark. That film, so that one for a video game adaptation made a good amount of money, 401 million. We get to Sonic the Hedgehog 2 at 405 million. That one actually received better reviews than the first film. On the magic number, 69%.
I think until the Mario movie comes out, I think this is my favorite video game adaptation.
We get to Rampage, the one with The Rock, Dwayne Johnson,
Rampage.
released in 2018. And look, let's be honest with this film. You take Dwayne Johnson out of this 428 million probably becomes like 300.
You're
So,
like, what is Rampage?
yeah.
Is this an actual game franchise?
Yeah, it was it's based on these video game series of the same name. They're like arcade games.
Ah,
Here, let's see if we can get one up.
that's very. I find
There it
that
is.
strange that they turn this into
Very
a
obscure.
blockbuster.
And The Rock. The Rock attached to it. But yeah, like I said, I think if The Rock's not attached to that, they don't make that amount of money. But then when you get to an established brand in Pokemon, Detective Pikachu.
Yep.
At,
That
yeah,
had to rake in money.
that rakes in $433 million.
Helps that it was a really good movie too.
Yeah, and that has the highest, or it 1% short of Sonic 2 for Rotten Tomatoes. But if you go to Metacritic, has a better rating. But a big brand such as Pokemon making that much money, I think that's a good indicator that for Pokemon making that, would you say that Mario is the bigger brand worldwide?
That's very tricky because Pokemon is quite literally big enough that the Pokemon company is sort of a separate entity to Nintendo. It's just they're still all licensed out under Nintendo, and I think they still own the actual intellectual properties. It's some sort of strange relationship with Pokemon, but it's all still under the Nintendo umbrella. But gosh,
Yeah.
what's more
It's
popular?
Nintendo, Creatures, and Game Freak are the three owning.
I really don't know.
shareholders.
I'd have to look at like the game sales or something, but I'd have to say Mario would different time periods that they blew up. Like the 80s video game boom, so there's tons of people that know that. But Pokemon just kind of came out of nowhere in the late 90s and just swept like the entire globe.
Yeah, it's another worldwide franchise. I would say. I don't know what I would say.
We
Maybe.
get Pokemon games more frequently than Mario games nowadays.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll have to look at the sales for those games as well. Do they remain consistent? Has there been a drop off? Maybe there's an increase?
Because I think the original Mario was like the leader in like all time sales for a bit there.
Let's bring this up and let's look at video game.
I wonder what the most like.
Okay, well, Mario is up there. It's 826 million sales, though they have combined Mario Kart parties. So,
oh gosh.
but Mario on its own is 385 million. Pokemon outsells that at 440 as of whenever this was written. So
I would have guessed that Grand
yeah,
Theft Auto would have been like up there just because of GTA 5 alone.
GTA 5 is 395, but of that, 5 is 175 of that. Well, they put a different Mario.
Mario.
Super Mario.
Is that just like
385. The series
like-
forms a larger core. Platform games,
the main series?
the main series, and that's just all of them. Oh, they've got Super Mario in it.
Oh,
But Yeah, look,
As
what's
an
the
entire
bigger
brand,
brand?
then probably Mario would be, I'd say, is bigger.
And then so that would mean that for a movie, would that draw the biggest sort of appeal worldwide? It's hard to say. But if we go to the next one, and this is a surprise for me, the number one selling, highest grossing video game movie is actually Warcraft. To be fair, Warcraft is also another big video game property. Didn't break even. Well, it's the highest video adaptation of all time. However, it didn't break even because they spent a lot of things on marketing and distribution costs.
Wow.
Well, that's interesting.
I
Who was in
definitely
this movie?
remember hearing about it a lot when it came out, but I just didn't really have a interest in watching it because I wasn't really in with that franchise.
I'm just looking at the cast, like not even any well-known, like A-list actors.
So that's kind of shocking, yeah, to me that it's number one. No offense to all the Warcraft community and fans and stuff.
But yeah, it didn't do too well with the critics, but yeah, the worldwide box office, Warcraft number one.
So I'd be very keen to see where the Mario movie ends up. I'm gonna guess. I'm gonna be
Yep.
honest. I honestly can see it taking out the number one spot.
I think it clears Warcraft by a distance. I think. Granted, the movie has to be good. It has to be really good because you'll get people going back watching it multiple times if it's really good. So if it's good, I think it clears it with ease. If it comes out complete garbage, which I don't think it will, but if it does, I think it may even still get above Warcraft because that's 439 million worldwide. If we just jump over to like generally what films are making, so in 2023, let's have a look. How do we look at this? Most grossing films, or maybe we go to 22. Just for a comparison, I mean, and if we talk about franchise property names, you look at a name such as Puss in Boots that made 476 million, which is more than Warcraft, and that's just Puss in Boots. That's a spin-off of Shrek. So, and then you've got Thor: Love and Thunder, which made 760 million. The Batman 770. I don't look. It's not going to get anywhere near Avatar: Way of the Water, but will it? I've seen a few things around there. I've heard a few people saying, a few pundits saying that they believe Super Mario Brothers is going to break into what they call the $1 billion club. They think that's going to make $1 billion at the box office, assuming it's good. And if you look at a film that's made $1 billion at the box office, all you need is Jurassic World Dominion, which is regarded as the weakest of Jurassic World, and that made $1 billion. So take that for what it's granted. All right, guys. That's a bit of a look into the box office and how all that stuff sort of works. Got a bit sidetracked there looking at the other games, but we just had to compare it, I guess, to see where we think this film is actually going to land. I think it was us needing to go, as I'm glitching very heavily on the screen here. We just had to check that out. All right, let's just finish off this episode with our final thoughts into the Mario Brothers movie. Like I said, we are seeing this Wednesday night, which is the opening night. There's going to be people seeing it before us because it's going to be opening that morning, the Wednesday. Unfortunately, during to work now we can't get up there. But Still looking forward to it. What's your final thoughts heading into this film?
I haven't been this excited since Sonic 2 because obviously, video games are sort of my passion, and video game movies, when it's about a series that I enjoy, you know, whether it be good or bad, I'm always keen, I'm always hype, and I'm very confident that this movie's going to deliver. So hype is through the roof. I just can't wait to watch this movie. They can't come any sooner.
Yeah, I think, yeah, the week wait is going to be the longest wait to watch this movie. I just can't wait to get into that cinema. I hope we get some sort of collector's thing with the in the cinema, like a collector's cup or a popcorn or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Maybe it's gonna be a little mushroom head. Maybe it's gonna be a little a pipe popcorn bucket. Surely. Actually, I'm just gonna quickly have a look. I wonder if they, because tickets are on sale now, by the way, guys, to see this film. Let's just have a look, because we'll be able to tell you guys if there is something. Where is that there? I need to log in. Is there a special thing? Oh, you gotta do a lot of things to get through here. Oh, yes, there is. I kind of want to buy it right now. So there is a little combo you get. So a super. Oh yeah, I'm getting this
Mario, Luigi
with a
Peach,
keychain.
Bowser, Toad. Oh, who do you pick though?
It's got to be. Oh, it's gonna be Mario. Maybe look.
The child in me wants Mario because back in the day, no matter what game it was, Mario was my guy. Mario Kart, Mario Tennis, Mario Golf, Smash Brothers. I went all Mario. But he is sort of the main guy, so I mean, I suppose we'd have to see what they look like, and we'll see it when we're there.
When we're there, and I guess and stocks will be a big thing if they've got a character or don't have a character. I guess we'll just decide on it.
Yeah, if they sell
I
it,
might even just let luck decide. Like,
just say anyone.
yeah, just whatever she grabs, the person grabs. But yeah, it's little. Guys can't see, but it's a little keychain of Mario. I wonder if it's on the box. Yeah, that's it. It's this little image here. That there is the keychain. That little promotional image. All right, guys, that is gonna do it. And I have to echo that sentiment right there. It's my most anticipated video game movie that I've been waiting and waiting for, and I hope, fingers crossed, I pray it's going to be amazing, and I hope it's so good that I go back and watch it time and time again. All right, that's going to do it for this episode of Big Screen, Small Screen. Thanks for joining me here today, Zion, for this video. We're going to be seeing the Mario Brothers movie next Wednesday. Oh my goodness, I can hardly wait. This is what we're going to do moving forward. And I'll put it to you, Zion, if you want to be a part of this as well. So, immediately after the film, I'm going to be uploading my direct out of cinema reaction. I've been doing that for a few of the movies so far, so I'll do that as well. And then following that, maybe the weekend following it, or maybe the following week, we're going to do here on the channel a credits roll live discussion on the movie. We might even just record it the weekend following while it's all fresh in our mind, or whenever, maybe that, and upload it at some point. We don't want to upload it too quick, so we want to give people the chance to go and watch it. So if you'd like to join me for that live discussion about the movie following it, just to get our thoughts on what we've seen, well, what we would have seen by then, I think that'll be good. And then following that, we're going to edit together our official review of the Mario Brothers movie and upload that as part of our credits roll series. But that is going to do it for tonight's episode of Big Screen, Small Screen. We thank you for watching this episode. Like I said, Mandalorian After Party will go up on the channel this weekend. Mario Brothers content all week next week, including the credits roll. Thanks for watching this episode. See you next time.